Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. If you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build, and we are just gonna jump right in to what you just saw as I started with this front porch. So recently, one of my favorite custom content creators, Peacemaker CC, actually released some screened in windows and doors to actually make like screened in porches and stuff like that. And I was so freaking excited. I downloaded it immediately and wanted to build kind of like a farmhouse style home, I suppose. And as you can see, that was like one of the first things I did is I made a screened in front porch, and it just looks so nice. Like there's so much sun that obviously spills into that small little porch, and I would imagine that this would have been something so nice for seasons. Imagine like in the summer, like you had the screened in porch and maybe there was like an emotional buff that was like enjoying the 3-season porch. I don't know, something like that, where basically you could enjoy at least 3 of the 4 seasons in comfort in something that's somewhat enclosed, but you still get to kind of enjoy the smells and sounds of nature, right? And yeah, I was just really excited to use it, but I also don't want that to deter you guys from potentially downloading this. I did mention on the community tab yesterday that this build, when it's uploaded to the gallery, will be custom content free because I know not everyone uses it. So basically what I end up doing for the gallery is I made a custom content free version of it where it's basically just glass window enclosures. That's pretty much it. So it's nothing drastic, but I did want to highlight that custom content creator first off and these pieces of custom content because I feel as though this was such a necessity and kind of a missed opportunity for seasons, to be honest. Like that would have been so freaking cool and appropriate and new because I don't think we had anything like that in The Sims 3, right? No, I don't think we had anything like that. No objects that were textured that way. So that would have been super cool. And I was really excited. And as I've now mentioned in like 4 videos, I am in the house hunting process. And there have been a few places that have like 3-season porches. And I just love that idea. And I'm growing to love it more and more. At like basically the more houses I look at, the more I love the idea. So that's also what half inspired this. But as you can see, the entire structure is pretty much come together at this point. So there is like a screened in front porch, which is really nice. But then there's this huge screened in porch off of the back of the build. And I just really liked that idea because there's just a lot of kind of semi outside space. And I felt like the family that lives here really enjoys the outdoors, so they wanted a home that kind of allowed them to maybe experience the outdoors when the weather wasn't so great. Like I don't know, like I would probably still sit out on a porch like that if it was raining, as long as it wasn't like torrential downpouring through the screen, you know what I mean? But I feel as though there's a lot of like reading and relaxation out on these porches, and that really worked for kind of the family that I pictured living in this home. And as you can probably tell at this point too, this was built in Brindleton Bay, and I called it a country home. I don't know, I don't think it's necessarily a country home, but it is kind of more of like a, I don't know, more of like a farmhouse home, I suppose. It doesn't have like a farmer's porch or like a wraparound porch or anything, but that's kind of what I would consider it. So let me know what you guys think. Like, what would you consider this home? Because that was just my first inclination. I kind of just went with it. I was like, you know what? This is the name now. Here we are. And as you can see, I'm kind of working on the landscaping now, and I did cut a portion of it out because it got extremely repetitive and it honestly took a lot longer than I was anticipating, but I left in a majority of it. It was really just kind of moving from the front to the back that I ended up cutting because I got kind of the basics down, I suppose, like those debug shrubs and then kind of like the underlying flowers here. I wanted to make sure I kind of showed all that off. And the landscaping actually, I think, brought this build together because it took a really long time, even though it doesn't seem so on camera. It took a long time for me to actually get like this structure situated because I wanted to go for something that had kind of like a pale blue siding, and I wanted really bright colored shutters, and we only have a few different windows that can really make that a reality. But with some of the varying wall heights and just kind of the specific look I was going for, it was really hard to find windows that made it work. So I think it all came together really nicely, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. But now I'm in the debug menu, kind of laying down these little pathway like stepping stones, which I really enjoy using now. I don't even remember who it was. It may have been Simlicy or another Sims builder at one point who I saw pluck those out of the debug menu, and now I'm obsessed with using them. I think that they're kind of a really nice break from even the terrain paint or even some of the floorings that we have that I may lay out outside. I don't know, I just really, really like them. And I also had a nice mixture of like cats and dogs windows, then there's base game windows, and there are just a few other elements from different packs, and I think it all meshed together reasonably well. I liked the end product, though as I was moving through it, I wasn't the biggest fan. It's kind of funny how that works. If you guys are builders, do you guys kind of experience that as well, where you're going through it and you're like, I don't know how this is going to come out? Like, it's alright, I don't know. And then you get to the end and you're like, oh my gosh, the whole thing, it's come together, I really like it. That was pretty much this build for me. And now I'm working on the little front porch, so there are just a couple of seating areas here. I thought it was a little small maybe to do like a lot more than just a couple of seating areas, but as you can see, the back porch is a lot bigger, so that one's really fun to furnish. But first I work on the floor plan, which was a little bit challenging only because there are a lot of kind of nooks and crannies in this build, and I wanted to really maximize the space. I knew I at least wanted 2 bedrooms, and I was able to achieve that, but it was kind of challenging because I also wanted there to be more than 1 bathroom. It ends up being a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath home, and it looks a lot bigger, like it should accommodate more than that, but I just struggled with it, and I wanted there to be a big enough kind of like living space / dining space, and the kitchen ends up being a lot smaller than I intended. So I don't know, it's kind of an awkward layout, so let me know if it works. I don't really know, it was weird. But first I work on the living space, and I was going to go full on just like rustic country decor, but then I ended up kind of modernizing it a little tiny bit. I'm not really sure why, but I wanted to kind of use a different couch. I think that's probably why. I typically go with the cats and dogs couch, but I went with this one from Seasons, and I did really want to kind of go with, I don't know, some color, I suppose. So the blue just kind of caught my eye, so I kind of went with it, and I ended up using some Seasons curtains and that rug from Laundry Day, and it just kind of ended up being a kind of a cozy rustic mix, especially when I brought in this lamp from Seasons as well. And I kind of used like darker woods to semi-match the floor, and yet the doors are a little bit lighter in tone, so I thought it was kind of a good contrast. I don't know, you guys will have to let me know what you think of the different mixtures of like wood tones. I probably say this in like every single video at this point, but I try to match different wood tones all the time, and I feel like it's something I really struggle with. And yet when I match them so specifically and like so accurately, it kind of drives me up a wall, and I can't really articulate it. But anyway, here I am decorating the kind of little living room table here, and I put some like kids craft things because I was picturing that this family has 2 children. One is a child sim, and then the other is a toddler, so they're kind of like more of a young family, or I suppose kind of growing family. And I was thinking that their child is a little girl, and she's super creative, loves drawing, but she also leaves like all of her arts and craft stuff all over the place. Just kind of like the idea because kids are messy. And the dining section is basically within this living room, and then I just add a bookshelf over here and just another kind of like armchair, just as a little place to maybe grab a book and cozy up and read without being, I suppose, in the hub of the living room where the TV is. Not that it's that far away, but that was kind of my thought. And I'm just kind of throwing out some decorations here. I always seem to use that coat rack and the umbrella rack because I want to make sure that there's just that added touch of realism, I suppose. I kind of wish that coat rack, I wish that it was basically, I wish it had the functionality of a wardrobe. Wouldn't that be kind of cool if it was like grab winter coat or a grab windbreaker or something, like a rain jacket? I don't know. I think that that would be super cute, and I feel like there's most likely a mod or like something out there already that does that, but I thought that that was kind of a cute idea, and I wish that I knew how to do things like that because I would just go ahead and make it if it doesn't already exist. But now we're working on the kitchen, and I ended up using these countertops that I don't use often, mainly because I don't like kind of the striations in the wood. I don't really like that, and this swatch I was a little hesitant on because it really matched the floors, like almost a little bit too much, but I ended up really liking the way in which the kitchen came together. And at first I was kind of struggling because I thought I wanted maybe a smaller dining section, so I did kind of include this island here with the bar stools, but At the same time, even if it's cluttered and your Sims can't sit there, there is the dining table out in the living room, so I wasn't too worried about it, and I do really like how it came out. It looks still pretty cozy and functional, and I didn't use expensive appliances. When I was building, I kind of had an idea for it, and now I can't remember, which is kind of embarrassing, but I did like it. I think I was maybe thinking that it was a little bit more of an affordable home. But at the same time, with all the landscaping, even though I use a lot of debug plants and just the amount of clutter that I use, a lot of the homes that I create aren't super affordable as like starter homes or even family homes. You'd probably have to use cheat codes, so I apologize, but that was kind of my thought. And now I'm working on the outside little like 3-season patio-ish area, and it's basically kind of like a second living room. I was gonna put the record player out there, and then I was thinking like full-on realism, the humidity would kind of get to that might not be a good idea, so I just grabbed this little like console table that came with cats and dogs that looks as though it was made, like handmade or something like that. And there's just some couches and a little coffee table, and then I also used the rug that came with, I think it was backyard stuff, so I think it's supposed to be a rug that you can keep outside. At least that was my thought. And there's a lamp out there, which you might want to bring in if it rains, but I do like how it came out because it is just kind of like a little hangout area. And then I work on the half bathroom, which of course just has the toilet and the sink, and then just some decorations to make it look a little bit more lived in, a little bit more cozy. And I was going to do laundry in this because I do laundry in this build, but I don't actually give them a washer and dryer. I only give them I think it's the drying, the clothesline. There we go, the clothesline and the wash tub. So there is laundry in this build, just an FYI, but there are no hampers. So if that is not your play style, simply just delete those things outside. Just wanted to make sure that there was a heads up there too. And now I'm working on the landing area, which is very moderately decorated. And then I move right on to the parents' bedroom. I haven't really thought too much about what the parents do and really what their personalities are, but I do really like how their bedroom came out because I use this gray wood, which is really, really pretty. I love the swatch of the bed, so finding those get-together side tables that match the wood tone was super cool. I feel like I haven't used them before, but you could probably call my bluff. I may have. And I, of course, wanted the wood tones to match in this bedroom. I feel like with bedroom sets, it's really important that things match like that. I don't know, I go back and forth all the time. I probably contradict myself 24/7 with stuff like that, but I do really like it because it looks really put together, but it also still looks pretty casual and cozy and comfy. And then I work on the kids' room. So like I said, it is a child sim and she's a little girl, and I think she's also obsessed with void critters. So I gave her the swatch of the bed that came with, I think the kids' room stuff pack or something like that had the void critters on it, which I have never used before. I can confidently say that. And then I put the void critter posters up, this little like my first pet stuff bookshelf, and that little stuffed animal that I put at the end of a lot of children's beds is a void critter. So like everything kind of worked perfectly. And her little corner of the room is pretty cozy. It's pretty tight and I do really like it. But the other side of the room is her sister's room. So the toddler is a little girl as well. And we don't really know what her personality really is as of yet, just because she is, I just punched my desk. It's just because she is so young, but the girls do share a room and the toddler side is a little bit smaller than the kid side. As she grows into a kid, there may have to be a separation of rooms, but there may not have to be, and at least her bed will fit, so I'm not really that worried about that, like if I were to play with this family, but it's definitely something to think about if you have a family moving in here and there's a toddler and a kid sharing this room. It just might become a little bit cramped, but I think you could probably make it work. But as you can see, I'm decorating here on the wall, so I put a little shelf above her bed, and I go into the debug menu, and I actually grab some like bottles and diapers, and some other kind of like kid decorations because I just wanted it to look as though maybe this toddler just transitioned into toddlerhood, you know what I mean? So still kind of on the baby side-ish compared to toddlerhood. I know we can't really articulate that, but that's kind of what I was picturing for this toddler. And everything is purple, like she loves purple. That has been a color that she has been drawn to. And she was like enthralled that her entire room was purple. But now I'm kind of working on the full bathroom upstairs, and there is no shower in this build. There's just a bathtub because you need it for the toddler, but I think that it could kind of work for now. Might want a shower in the future. And then I move on to the backyard, and there are just a few decorations and activities for the whole family to enjoy out there, including a swing set and the water balloon bucket, as well as a slide for the toddler, and just a couple of other things. And that is pretty much it for the build, so I will link that custom content below if you are interested. Thank you guys so much for checking this out, and I'll catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!
Shed a tear in my whole life. Leave, baby, leave, release the spell. I drink the poison if it'll freeze this hell. I was cursed, that's what I'm told. You'll get burned, that story's old. Dark sky and burning fire. I'm faster to escape these lies. Mountain water running free. Take the bad luck away from me. Wind blows like the Santa in a breeze. Take the bad luck away from me. The air is thick with snow. There's nowhere to go. Earth and soil, release my fate. Take my bad luck, don't hesitate.